So Jaime back from Inky&Scrappy and my mess. It was clean. I threw a bunch of stuff on because I was prepping for this, and so it really is about that wide that I have clean. So I of course picked out the dinosaur stamp set. Inspiration came in the necessity of need. So my nephew is turning 3, and so I needed a birthday card for him. He loves dinosaurs, so I pulled out a dinosaur stamp set. So Fawn has the Rawrsome one. There's tons of different cutesy dinosaur ones out there, and they also have just the Roar flip-flop. They have the Roar regular one, which is just this one, and then he's flipped the other way, so you can have 2 and then they can kiss, or whatever, hence why this one has little hearts with it. And sometimes it's depending upon your card. Like if I wanted him bringing in a birthday cake for the little guy here, I want him facing that way. Anyways, it's kind of how it goes. I'm going to use the bigger stamp set today. I think I want a couple of images, so I'll probably do this one, the little guy, and then maybe the pterodactyl. I don't know if I'm going to do any other ones. Maybe a birthday hat. We'll see. But I brought in, this is an oldie, so it's called Originals Handcrafted Cards Made Easy. This is the Close to My Heart Card Confidence program from back when I was a Close to My Heart consultant. You can find it. There's like 4 copies I think currently available for like $10 on, I think it's thriftybooks.com or something like that. They also have the next one. I think there was one of those and then one of the older ones. But ultimately, if I'm stumped on a card layout, or just I need something simple and fast and I'm not feeling it, which I wasn't today. I was like, I know what I want kind of, but I really don't know, and I want to keep it simple, and so this was one I could just go through. I really just looked at the layouts on this page, which kind of just, I was like, oh, that one's kind of cute. And I'd already pulled out my papers, so I think we're going to go with this one. I'm modifying it heavily. I'm thinking I can put the little pterodactyl up on top where those 2 C pieces go. And then, of course, I'll put maybe the little scene down here. But I'm going to build it with a lot of pattern paper today. I love how last week's turned out. So it's kind of where I got stuck. I'm also going to use Bristol Smooth today, not because I don't love my Express It. I love my Express It. I pulled it out because I planned on doing watercolor, but then I changed my mind. Anyways, so it's also a bit thicker, and I'm not worried about my blend so much today because I'm only using 1 or 2 markers, and it's for a little kid. So, but I wanted it to be heavier because I want to put the little pterodactyl dude on a wobbler, I think. Little kids love cards that do things. A wobbler is super cheap and easy to do, and so that's why I'm going to do a wobbler. You can pick them up at Hobby Lobby. Amazon has them super cheap for like 100 of them, which will last you a very long time. But ultimately, I will get to them when we get that far, but they're kind of expensive at Hobby Lobby if you pick them up not on sale. I only pick them up when they're buy one get one. They also have the bigger version, which I like the bigger version better for bigger images, but I like the bigger, it's sturdier, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to play with that today. I don't know where my open mag is. Alright, so let's start cutting and start stamping. So I'm using Echo Park's My Little Boy paper pad. I thought it was bright and fun color-wise. There's not a whole lot of dinosaurs in it. There's dragon. But I thought it would be fun to bring that one in for, a little boy birthday. So I think we're going this one as, I don't know if I want to do that one as my big background. I think I'm going to do this one as my big background. Just go with your original plan, woman. Okay, so I'm going to measure this one at 4 1/4. I want it to go horizontal. Otherwise, if you want it to go vertical, or no, I'm going vertical, not horizontal. So I'm cutting it vertically with my pattern. If you wanted it to be horizontal, cut it the other, going with your pattern the other way. Since this one, but I thought this one was just kind of fun. It does have a little dragon on there, which is kind of like a, we don't know for sure if dinosaurs, could or couldn't breathe fire. Do we? I mean, do we really know for sure? I'm sure Amy will come on here and say, you're correct. They could not breathe fire. So this one, we're going to go with 2.5. I'm going to cheat it a little bit on that because I'm pretty sure it's going to get covered up anyways. But I also want to get that frayed edge off. And I'm going to go 4 1/4 on this one wide. So that's going to give me that belly band look on there. I lost my other one. So a lot of times I like to build my card as I'm going, just because then it kind of helps me figure out if I like what my layout is going, if I have enough color break in there and it's not too over the top. You know, sometimes pattern on pattern on pattern can be over the top. Now we're going with a tone on tone for the last two, but feel free to bring in regular colored cardstock that would coordinate with it. I just thought it would be kind of fun to do some ultra patterns today, just because, you know, little kid cards need to be like extra wow. So my pattern says 2.5 by 2.5. I think I'm going to cut it at 2.5 by 3. Let's go 3.5, and I can always adjust this one smaller once I get my images cut. But I thought that would be cool to put down for the ground, and then I really don't need the sky on this one, but I'm going to cut this one to 2.5. Do I want to do 2.5? Let's do. I'm trying to decide which way to cut it. Let's do 1.5 inches. I might just do this one as the overlay on top and kind of build my scene that way. Putting this one over the top so it kind of looks like a little night sky scene on my green pea, on my where my image is going to sit. And what did we say? We did 3. I can't remember what I said. 3.5. Okay. So I'm gonna go 3.5. I'm gonna glue this one on top already, just because that's the end goal anyways. So I'm gonna start with that. And again, it's not going to matter if I need to cut it down. They're going to be glued together, so they'll be dry by then anyways. But I have a feeling this size will probably be about the right size. So if we pull this one back in, go here, we have this one popped up here, because we could even center it if we really wanted to. But I think the little pterodactyl up here will be really cute. Now you could do a little piece down here if you wanted to, like the pattern showed, but I don't think we're going to need that. I think we'll be able to do that with a stamped image. So there's basically my card layout. I may bring in another piece for a sentiment, which will probably be solid colored cardstock. So there is kind of our card base. I'll set that off to the side. And whoops, that off to the side. This is why my desk gets a mess, because I just set everything off to the side. And the side means it's on one big old pile. Okay, so for my images, I'm gonna grab my piece of Bristol Smooth here. Grab, maybe. Oh, behind. Does anyone else use their chair as like extra counter space? And so you can't actually sit because it's got a bunch of stuff currently parked there. Yeah. Current predicament. Alright. You know what would be really cute? This little guy but going the other direction. Well, I could just do my card the other way, but kind of the same thing, right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying not to get sidetracked as I get sidetracked. Do I want to add, do we want to do the little lavas? We'll do the little lavas. I want to do the little guy because I think he's cute. I mean, ultimately, he's adorable. So if we go this dude, I'm just kind of figuring out scene-wise. I want the little triceratops up here on my image or on my card, so we'll put him here. I think we're good. I could probably do, we're going to do the little birthday hat, and I'm going to do the little feet. The little feet will kind of work for a little bit. Oh, I can do a solid footprint. I mean, that would be easy. I might do that on the actual paper. Let's see. Do I want anything else on there? Because I hope your birthday is Pterrific. Pterrific. As in pterodactyl. Okay. Let's go with, so I'm going to use the Fawn Jet Black ink today since I am doing alcohol marker coloring, but it also works for watercolor pencil coloring. Maybe next week I'll do watercolor. I was really planning on doing watercolor today. Don't ask. It's just one of those days. It's looking like it's gonna need a second coat. Now, because I'm gonna color this right away and it's not gonna sit, I am gonna hit it with the heat gun. It just, I don't know if it's the heat, the humidity, the new ink pad that just doesn't wanna dry as well or as fast as the old ones did. I don't know. But I'm gonna heat it with the heat gun, so it's gonna get noisy. Not too bad time-wise. It really just kind of helps, hopefully, just set that heat in there. Let's see, my color-wise, up top, I think I'm going to do blue for the pterodactyl, green for this guy, and then maybe bring in, or red. I have red, yellow. I have my markers picked. So these are all from the, I think they're all from the 60 color set. There might be, the brick brown might be from the skin tone color set with the Oahu line. So if you're looking, those are the ones that I felt matched my paper pack. I don't know if I'll need, I obviously don't have that many images, so I don't think I'll need them all. Well, actually, if I do the lava red, that's the lava, that's the mountain. We can do that little guy green, and his polka dots I can do blue or yellow. Okay, alrighty. Should we zoom in for you? So for this one, I think, oh, I have them labeled. So I have one number 1 and one number 2. So number 1 is my darkest color, number 2 is my lighter color. Why are these ones? Because I used them for class, but the caps are kind of misleading because I would think this one's darker than that one, and it's not. It's the other way around. So sometimes writing on your markers makes sense, you know. Numbers. I'm all about saving some time, so it works. And let's see, we'll go. I'm just going to go once with the dark blue because I think it's going to be too dark. Otherwise, I kind of want to, it's going to dry back a little bit, but ultimately, I want to keep the coloring fairly simple on this one. So first line, and then I'm going to go in with a second layer over the top, and then of course I didn't hit along the bottom edge like I was supposed to. Okay, and the same with this one, just kind of going with that first layer of color and then just adding a second layer. So you can get away with one marker for the whole thing. It's a fairly small image, so don't feel that you need multiple markers on this one. And especially starting out, if you can learn to layer your one marker color on top of the same color and get that gradient look, you're doing amazing. It takes time. And even coloring the whole image and then coming back and doing your second layer, third layer where you want it to be darker works well as well. Okay, so I'm going to add a blue stripe on my birthday hat. Well, I have it open. Let's see. Let's do the little guy. I have a dark green and a light green. Let's try the lighter green. I think he's going to get too dark otherwise. He's pretty little. He's a cute little guy. Alrighty, and then, so I'm going to do my first layer kind of on the outside. I'm going to add around the little detail dots just because those are a little bit harder to color around, so I try to do those all at the same time. Wet on wet is going to look better on those. And then of course we're just going to go, since I have my low lights in there, I'm just going to go over with my marker and do the whole image, going over that darkened area again just to add that second layer of color, so it should darken it and give it a little bit of a low light there, or shadow, however you want to say it. And then if you feel that you need more definition there, go ahead and add a third layer on top of where you want that darker area to be. It should give you another layer of color, so it should look a little bit darker than your two layers in one layer. So there's that. Let's see, we'll do green towards the top since he's green. And I didn't use that one. Okay. So for my volcano, I'm just going to come in. I think this is my darker shade. I didn't double check. I just went from. Now, rocks you don't have, you can definitely go the smooth route. I am going to go I want it to have some texture, I guess. So if this is my darker color, that's the plan at least. I just want it to kind of add some lines down. It's going to give it a little bit more shape and texture. Ultimately, it's going to look like maybe it has some more dips and valleys in there. I mean, that's what I'm hoping it looks like when we're done. We'll see. I'm going to go with the big side just because it's a larger area, and I like to color, but I like to color quickly. So once I have that base color down, I can come back in now with the finer area and go along each of those lines that I've added and kind of blend them in a little bit more. That's going to give you a little bit more texture to the volcano. If you don't want that texture and you just want it to be kind of that gradient look, start with this one, do 2 layers on your outer part, go with 1 layer, and then do this one 2 layers, 1 layer, you know what I mean? So you can get the same with that brick brown and terracotta, kind of, sort of. I don't know. That's what I was going for. I think we're going to bring in a little bit of yellow for my lava, and of course the birthday hat too, since I have it out. But yellow and red are going to make orange, right? So I usually start with my yellow because it's the lightest color. I don't want to bleed red onto my color tip. You're going to have to clean it if you do that, which it's fine. You can do it that way. I just like to kind of start with the yellow. And I want to go up further than I want it to be yellow because I kind of want to get some orange in here as well. So for my lava flow, and this is how I do fire as well. I kind of, usually I don't even need to bring in an orange marker. Sometimes I will, but a lot of times it's about layering those colors on top of each other. I'm going to go with the lighter red to start with. I might end up switching and adding the darker one in towards the top. And so I'm just going to kind of go and slowly add the red in. By adding that base layer of yellow, it's going to help me a little bit to get that color blend that I want. And now to decide on how much flow I want into the yellow. And you can definitely come back with the yellow. I'll probably do it on the little area. And then I'll just make sure that my marker tip is clean so I don't have any ink transfer. And it dries pretty fast on Bristol Smooth that I shouldn't have any issues. I always work yellow to darker because of like any other wet ink will get. So this one didn't compromise my marker, right? But it's just one of those habits that I have. Because when you do ink blending, like with Distress Oxides or regular inks on paper, you want to start with your lightest color and work to your darkest, just because you will end up with a messy lighter ink color. I think we're good there. I just want to add a little bit of the darker along the top, give it a little bit more flow look. And then I don't know what color I should do the footprints. Maybe some dark green ones because it'll go on the green. So let's just do some dark green footprints. I don't know if we'll use them. If we don't use them on the outside, we'll probably pop them on the inside. And so I think we're good there. Oh, I didn't do his little dots. I forgot. Somebody forgot to tell me. I probably could have done those things too, but there we go. So there are the colors I used for my coloring today. The little egg would have been cute too to make it look like he's popping out. So I'm going to run this through the Brothers Candy Cut and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my card base, we have our cut out images and we have our pre-cut papers. Now, I mean, I was planning on going that way, but you could definitely go that way because it's party, right? I should have done a little hat for my little pterodactyl dude too, but oh well, such is life. So I'm going to start by gluing my paper onto my card front. I know some of us can't cut straight, or you know, my 5.5 obviously was not 5.5. I will say the guillotine cutter is perfect for that one. I don't know if you get as good of a cut on that fine with the slider one. Just saying. Okay, so this one we're gonna go with here. I could probably stamp my sentiment onto this piece if I wanted to. It would probably fit like right there. Maybe. Hope your day is. I mean, I could make that work. Hope your birthday is. I mean, since there's that yellow strip there, it'll work. I think we're going with Pterrific because we have the pterodactyl. Rawrsome would work. Dynamite. And a little exclamation point. If I was smart, I'd have done this inside of the stamp platform. Doobie-doo. I am trying not to have to take out the ones that are in there just to save me some time. I think we're going to aim for center on this one. So Fawn sentiments are really nice that they're rectangular in shape, and so they fit really nicely together, like lining them up to create sentiments. That's nice. All right, I think we look like we're mostly centered here. And you have to see the top right. Sorry. Excuse me. Allergies is good today. Alright. Anyways, they line up well, so you can see the top of my head so I can see that they're lined up where I want them. You can definitely do the piece of clear acetate over the top to double check your work if that's your jam. I usually do it and hope for the best, because if I mess it up, usually it's a fixable offense. Okay. Hope your birthday is terrific. And then let's do the inside since we have it here. I think we're gonna go with the party like there's no tomorrow. And then I love you. I think we're gonna go that way. And then we're gonna pull this one in. Okay, I'll add that one in a little bit. Are we? We're not centered over there. Okay. I think we're mostly centered. I think we're mostly straight. We're gonna go for it. And then I'm just going to ink this one up with that VersaFine Onyx black ink again. Or wipe my inky finger off on my clothes because that's how I roll. Oh, I can leave this one in here. Pull those ones out though. Pop this one in here. The other one go. Ink everywhere. Oh wait. I'm gonna bring in the vintage sepia for this one. I would definitely bring in a colored ink, or like an orange or a red would be cute with that. The brown at least looks kind of like mountains, I guess. I don't know. Okay, that one that way. And then I wanted to bring in this one. Let's see if I have a teeny tiny stamp here. So I'm going to bring in a little, just freehand this one. I'm just going to bring in, I'll just grab an orange. Whatever's close at hand. Orange was the first one that I grabbed. Do I want to go solid orange or do I want to do, let's go first impression, second impression, third impression. So it's going to get lighter as you ink it, obviously, but you get the darker one on top, and then the lighter ones are kind of hiding beneath. Ooh, I want to do little footprints too. Sometimes I like to, you know, make the insides as pretty as the outsides. Let's do, I think topiary is maybe going to be close to the green that I use. Let's see. Probably like rustic wilderness or mowed lawn. Forest moss, peel paint probably peel paint would be the closest one to the outside one. I'm just doing that solid stamp. I'm just going to make little dinosaur footprints on there. Just a fun little extra. You could have just done dinosaur footprints like walking across the card. That would have been cute too. All the little things. Okay, so we have the inside done. We have the outside mostly done. Let me fold this one a little bit better. There we go. Alright, so here is this one. So I think we're going here with this one. We might shift it into the center. This is how I say, I look at that for like, you know, like my original idea, just kind of to bounce off of something, right? I like it here if the pterodactyl is going to work here, because it'll offset and it kind of draws your eye across the card. Does that make sense? So I kind of like it this way, and then maybe put the little footprints down here or something so it kind of builds a triangle. You know, I'm a triangle builder. That's just kind of how I roll. I'm gonna glue. Do I want it this big? Okay, I'm not gonna glue. I'm gonna start with this one first. We'll get that one down, and then I'll lay out my pieces for the other. So for the little action wobbler, I will find some on Amazon and link them down below if you're interested. You know, my crafty friends say that's what they do, and I just haven't, I guess I haven't looked on there for them. So there's this little flimsy piece on the one side. I will say that these ones from Hobby Lobby pop off once in a while. I usually just push it back on and glue it, just because, well, it's a pain, and you know, I don't know, I don't want to waste it. Now this one is big enough just because it didn't cut where it was supposed to cut, and so I can hide the whole thing behind there. Try it before you do it to see if you need to trim down that little plastic piece. Like, it's sticking out here a little bit, but I don't think you're going to see it enough that it matters. And then it comes pre-sticky on both sides, right? And of course I don't trust adhesives, and so I do add a couple of dots of liquid glue onto the outside ring. You don't want to touch that inner spring with glue, because then it's not gonna be bouncy. We want it to be bouncy. So I'm gonna just pop that on there, and then I'll let it dry before I play with it too hard. Okay. So we have this little one, this little one. Kind of looks like his birthday cake, doesn't it? Do I want to make it smaller? Probably. I can probably trim a little bit off, because I can put him here with his little birthday hat. So let me trim off just a little bit. So we're at 3.5. I'm just going to trim it down to 3. And then you get to see a little bit more of that pattern paper on the back side of this one. So I'm going to commit and glue this one down. And I'm kind of looking at how much room I have above this one there, so I kind of have the same amount down below here. It doesn't have to be like that, but I think it looks more pleasing to your eye when you center things a little bit better, unless you're going for totally off center, which is fine too. But since I centered this piece, I kind of want my other 2 pieces to be centered, and they're already like, I don't know, I don't want to say off kilter, but they kind of feel like they're off kilter in a way, right? So I'm gonna pop. I probably could have trimmed it down height wise on this one, but this will work. I definitely could have done more animals with this one. I was trying to, you know, keep my coloring to a minimum today. Why, you ask? Because I tend to go overboard. Okay, that and coloring just takes forever. Okay, so we're going to add, I like to trim, after I put the glue on, I like to trim the little white part on this one, just because it's going to be on his head, and I don't like covering my other images up with glue. It's just one of those little things that I like to do. It makes the image look like it's supposed to have a hat on there, not like I stuck it on there with this sticker. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I just like the flow and how it looks that way. Now for my little lava pieces, of course the brother scanned and cut them funky, but we'll make it work. I'm gonna bring in my crystal katana to kind of add them. It's looking to see if I can figure out which one's which. This one, maybe here. Just me trying to piece them together. Puzzle complete. I should have drawn a line with a pencil and then erased it, but I didn't, so that's what you get. So I think we're gonna go, let's see, where are we gonna put the little footy prints? Do them walking away. Run, Littlefoot, run! Do you remember Littlefoot? I remember Littlefoot. I loved the movie, but I hated it because it was so sad. Yeah. Because ultimately, even though they lived, kind of, sort of, we all know that they didn't make it out alive. If that doesn't put a damper on my card, wow. Okay, anyways. Jamie being Jamie. Do I want to do glitter? I definitely want to do glitter. I think I should probably stick to glossy accents for this one. If glossy accents don't work for you, I did on my otter cards that I did, I took, this one is garbage, don't get this one, at least mine is, it was brand new and it didn't work. The Tim Holtz Distress embossing pen is awesome. It works very well. I did that on my otters in space and it worked really good, and then I just did clear embossing powder over the top and I loved the result. It gave that glossy accent look without having to wait for it to dry. we all know how I do with dry time. I'm not great at it. If I don't set it off to the side where I'm not going to set something on top of it, yeah, I've ruined more cards. Finished cards that way, or, you know, finished glossy accents that way, and then had to fix them. It's not fun, because sometimes they're not fixable. So, there is, and then your little pterodactyl up on top just pops up, and he wiggles, so you can just, you know, make him fly, kind of, sort of. Other than that, but he closes flat, so he gets pretty flat for mailing. Usually I don't have to. I usually put a piece of cardstock over the top. Why? Just to protect the front of my card, especially if I have something that's going to be sticking up that might catch in the machine when they run through. A lot of times, like this one is light enough, I can put another piece of cardstock over the top and it's not gonna hinder. Like, I'm not gonna have to pay extra. This one should be underweight. Does that make sense? But make sure that your glossy accents are dry if you added them. Other tips and tricks. I think that's about it. But a lot of times if I'm sending stuff to other crafters, I will make sure that extra piece of paper is, like, you know, I don't have any pattern paper, so usually I try to send extra pattern paper. Or, like, you know, if I made a card and I have an A2 size scrap, I will send that A2 size scrap on top, you know, and then hopefully they can use it again. Hopefully it doesn't get damaged. Or I'll do some fun specialty papers sometimes. But I even have, like, some postcards that fit perfectly, so it's like an extra little fun surprise. But there is my Hope Your Birthday is Terrific card with the little action wobbler on there. It just adds a little bit. You could definitely add some more little dinosaur prints. You could add another dinosaur on there. All of those are options, you know. Making them go off your little square is fine. I could have done like a little tractor on here. There's so many options with this one. It didn't have to be dinosaurs. That's just what I picked for this one. This could definitely be a space scene on there. Not gonna lie. So then on the inside, I just stamped some of those fun images from the stamp set in there to get the I love you party like there's no tomorrow. So it's got the little, you know, it's just a little scene on the inside. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Have an amazing rest of your weekend. If you're watching it on the weekend. If you're watching it during the week, hopefully your week's going well. All right, take care. Bye.